Good evening, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and as a bonus Tuesday review this week, we have Damn Them All. This is Simon Spurrier and Charlie Adlard, and there's a couple of reasons why I'll do something first when I'm picking it. More often than not, my reason for picking something to review first is because it might sell out, and I want to read and review before it sells out. It's not the case. I've got a bunch of spare copies, but it's because I've been waiting for this for so long. And when I say so long, I don't mean like this got listed a while ago and it seems like it's taken forever to get here. DC cancelled Hellblazer by Simon Spurrier, and I've been cross about it ever since. So Simon Spurrier coming back with a different artist, different team, different publisher, to do something which feels like it has such a vibe of Hellblazer to it, that I was like, yeah, this is it. This is going to scratch that age for me. It's going to scratch it really nicely too. So I was really, really excited for it. And it absolutely delivers in a variety of ways, and it goes about things in ways that I find interesting. It doesn't feel like it is an exact sequel, because obviously it doesn't own those characters, can't do exactly what he wants to do, but it still feels like it's a story he could have told it in that world. But we will get to that shortly. First of all, we're going to talk about Charlie Adlard doing some artwork. Now, I quite like his work. It's not like I'm a huge fan. I don't buy books because his name's on them, but I like what he does. He has a tendency to do understated, realistic artwork in situations where it might not necessarily be realistic, and I find that a really handy skill to have. It's deep and dirty and down to earth, not overly scratchy, and it doesn't really embrace with the horror very much, which surprised me. I kind of like that dark, shadowy play, which you can get when you're dealing with a horror comic book. It looks fantastic, and you can really play around with the blacks and the dark shadows, and it look amazing. He's doing a very standard-looking comic book. I don't mean that as a negative thing. I think it looks realistic on purpose. There's several bits where it's just people hanging out in a pub, and it looks exactly like that. He gets people's physicality down perfectly. Their facial expressions are great. He does an awful lot of non-verbal communication with his characters. Genuinely great art. But then there is something supernatural, and it looks weird. It looks odd. It doesn't look like anything I expected it to, because there's a demon that's summoned, in fact, more than one of them, or at least some kind of extraplanar entity that we think of as demons. And in my head, I kind of know what I'm expecting for it, and I'm sure you all have a very similar kind of idea yourself, and it's similar to my idea, but you all have a similar way of thinking when it comes to there will be a demon. You will have something in your head that you're expecting. I'm thinking Shadow Service at the moment. Brilliant demons in that. This doesn't really have much detail at all. It's kind of weird and off-putting, and it messes with the world around it. But for the most part, it's just a thing holding something else, or something that looks kind of like something you expected to, but not quite. But the point is that it shouldn't be accessible to our brains. We shouldn't be able to be like, oh yeah, if I expect a demon, this is what I'm going to see. Because as much as we could read comic books or watch movies and TV shows or any other kind of media where a demon will turn up, there's absolutely no way our minds will be able to cope with an extraplanar entity just suddenly appearing and wreaking havoc. This is where Spurrier really hits it for me, because he writes it like this, where this is an unusual, terrifying, horrifying thing. It should not be the norm. It also differs slightly in this time of storytelling from Hellblazer. There is a difference in the way magic works. The rules have changed, but it's brilliant and I love it. But that huge idea of what we expect to see isn't what we're going to see, and when we see something like that, it is going to mess with our heads. That's a very dark, deep kind of magic. It's almost the way that Lovecraft kind of talks about his extraplanar entities, or his elder gods, should I say. The human mind is not capable of dealing with this kind of thing, and the big horror for them is the unknown when you finally see it and it breaks your mind. It feels like it's gone that way rather than the street-level magician kind of thing. But then you get more into the story, and you get this brilliant character who has this fantastic background done like right at the front, and when you meet her, you realise you've met her long before. She's always been in the comic book. She is enigmatic and she's charming, but she's also an absolute bastard, which is fantastic. There is so much of this which is Hellblazer. Effectively, Spurrier doesn't own those characters, but if he was, and he didn't want to do what the New 52 had done and carry on from there, he wanted to rush straight on from something like the Vertigo thing. He didn't have to worry about time travel and alternate realities. He could literally have had somebody else taking the role. If he was going to do that and take another character who already exists in that world or was created to exist in that world, and he wanted to introduce them into that world, this is how we do it. This could be his version of Hellblazer 2.0, and it would be amazing and fantastic and thoroughly enjoyable. I do wish it was already going to be longer. It's one of 6, and I like the idea of it being a 6-issue miniseries, because the setup for it does have a little bit of, if it was going to carry on for a very long time, maybe a bad guy of the episode kind of thing, or of the issue, should I say. But I think Boom have proven before that if they get enough interest in something, their writers, their pitches are kind of open ended and they can keep exploring the world. I think there's enough world here that we've already discovered that I want more of it. I want more of the characters. I want to find out more of these rascals and vagabonds and terrible people and the relationships they have with each other. I want all of it. I want everything. And this one issue, these 6 issues, is not going to be enough for me. And I really hope Boom don't do dirty like DC did. That's it from me today. I'll be back tomorrow with another review. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.